Hi everyone, it's Anne from Anneliese's Creations. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. Unfortunately, my mic's battery is out, so I'm using the battery that's in my camera, so it's not as great, so I apologize. Anyhow, I'm here to do a quick video, or somewhat quick video, of a kind of inspired by Ilene McInnes's one of her last videos, that she showed how she made this tag or label or whatever out of an aluminum can. Then she took some what they call letter blocks punches that you hammer, hammer letters into aluminum. And she had made me this when she sent this to me in my birthday giveaway challenge, as well as the Brave journal series that she's doing on YouTube. And I got thinking, well, gee, if she can do that with an aluminum can, then maybe I could probably do something with it. And I went on Pinterest, and there were quite a few people that have used aluminum cans to make airplanes, to make altered art out of. They've used their embossing folders to emboss them. And I thought, wow, I could do that, but can't I make die, have my Sizzix Diecut dies, right? And I thought that would be an awesome idea. So I'm going to post the link to Ilene McInnes's video regarding how she cut the can, because I'm not going to do it on camera because it's just too much for me and probably too much for you to watch and go, oh my god, she's going to cut herself. But I do suggest when you do use it, have a good knife, X-Acto knife set. This one I got at Harbor Freight for, I think it was like less than $7, I think. And it comes with 3 different knives and blades, which is really, really cool. So there, if you have a Harbor Freight, or go to harborfreight.com where you can order this online, okay? And you will need some heavy-duty glove, at least a glove to hold the can while you're cutting, and a good cutting mat, okay? Because you want to protect your surface. You don't, because if you slip and you get your surface, you don't want it going into your, like say if you have a nice craft table, you don't want to mark up your craft table. So make sure you have a cutting mat underneath it, all right? So those are the things that you will need, all right? And what I did was, I'm not going to show you, I'm not going to actually cut on camera, but I've got these heavy-duty leather gloves. They're my husband's from his toolbox. You could tell they're too big, but I pull them all away so that I can get, And then I just hold the can like this, and I start cutting along the crease line here, all right? And you're not going to get huge pieces of aluminum, but they do enough for what you might want to use them for, all right? Because I have been buying aluminum sheets, and they're not cheap. They're not, the last time I think I spent $13 for 2 sheets, which isn't very much if you think about it, how much you would need it for. So this is a great way of recycling your cans. If you don't recycle for money, which I used to when my kids were young and they were still living at home, they used to take the cans and bottles to get pocket money. And we've been collecting cans for quite a while now. My son comes home from college occasionally, and he and his dad will have some beer, and so we have a lot of beer cans. We don't drink soda anymore in our house. No more soda pop in our house, so we, so we'll have a lot of beer cans. And I thought the design was pretty cool on this beer can too. There's some pretty cool beers out there now that have some really cool artwork on the can that you can incorporate into your die cut, okay? So what I did was I went ahead and did a Canada Dry one, all right? Okay, let's put it this way. In honor of Ilene, since she lives in Canada. So before I get started, I'm going to move my Sizzix for just a second because I want to show you what I want to do first, okay? Because see how it's all curled up, and you're like, well, how do I get it to uncurl? If you have a rolling pin, and I would suggest you wear your glove, at least one glove to hold it, because it is kind of sharp. You don't want to get cut, but you're going to roll it the opposite direction to get it to go flat. Okay. And if it creases a little bit, it doesn't matter, because when you go to emboss it, it's going to straighten it out. Okay. But you kind of want to just flatten it out. But you want to do it the opposite direction. Okay. So I need to get it to lay this way, which is, I'm having a hard time right now. Okay. And you're going to kind of go over it with the rolling pin. And of course, it's always easier off camera than when you have to actually do it on. And some areas are going to get a little wrinkled, and I'm not concerned because I'm more wanting the middle of this can than I want the sides, than I want these edges, okay? So I'm not too concerned. And if you really want straighter lines, you could run this through your paper cutter. If you have a good paper cutter that's got the knife thing that comes down, like an old school paper cutter, then you could run this through your paper cutter and cut it. And at the same time, you're sharpening the knife on that. So kill two birds with one stone. So anyway, so now that it's cut, it's kind of flat. All right, so I ran this through and made it good and straight through my paper cutter, all right? And yes, I'm not concerned about this area here because I'm not going to be die cutting in that area anyways, so it's not too concerned about that. But before I get started on that, I'm going to show you what I did here. I had a Tim Holtz die for one of his clock faces. And so I went ahead and I cut it out, you know, and it does emboss some of the lines for the numbers. But it didn't really matter because I was going to I re-put it through in an embossing folder to emboss these clocks on the face. See that? Now I could use the printed side of the can if I wanted to, or use this side. Two, you can also, I'm going to show the other ones I did. I did this heart. Okay, and I cut the heart out first, and then like I said, I ran it through an embossing folder to make the embossing, okay? And I took an expensive piece of metal, it's about this big and it's much thicker, and ran these through, okay? Very cool, huh? But, you know, they're a little bit thicker, okay? But I kind of like the aluminum can better because it's more pliable. You can work with it a little better, I think. And you could use this side of the tattered flowers. Okay, this is a tattered flower one. I think it's Tim Holtz also. And how this goes is you've got several pieces of the flower, okay? And you could use this side, okay, of the can. Run it like this, and then use this piece on top, so you already have colored pieces. Or you could use your gesso these over, and then paint over them. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Hubby's home and he's making noise. All right, be back. So I'm going to show you how I emboss these and how I'm going to cut some of them, all right, into shapes. So this time I'm going to just put it through the embossing folder first. So I'm going to use the Tim Holtz Alterations line for Sizzix. It's called Texture Fades, and one's postcard, one's sheet music. I'm going to use the postcard one today. Actually, I think I'll use the sheet music because I'm prepping all of these things for another project in the future. So you will see those things in the future coming soon. And this is, no, I'm going to say this is a fairly new one, but is it? Yeah, this one's a new one I haven't even used yet. So bear with me. I'm trying to get this open. I usually have my X-Acto knife, and of course, you know, I put my precision knives away. I know, here they are, but I don't need them right now. So I'm going to open this up. There we go. And slide this one out. And I'm going to use this one, all right? So I'm going to put it in, and I'm going to put it in, trying to think of how I want this to go. And I think I want it going this way. And this way, all right? Okay, and I'm not worried about the end part because right now I'm not concerned about it. All right, and then I'm going to make the sandwich, okay, between the two plastic pieces like this. Okay, and then you have to have on your extended platform, you have to have it to this one, okay. So place that in, then put this in, all right, and then just run it through. Okay. And then open it up, and it does get a little stuck to the embossing, but that's okay, see? And then you can pull it out like this. Now I did it this way, okay, or I could use the bumpy side or this side. It doesn't really matter to me, okay? Or I could have run it through this way, upwards, okay? Now I'm going to run this end through the other way and show you the differences. All right. So then I'm going to run this one back through, make my sandwich again. I've got to make sure this is straight though. This end. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to run it through again. Alright, so this makes my more bumpy side. See that? Okay. Now that I've embossed it, okay, I might want to cut it into a shape. So, and it's nice and flat now, so it makes it easier for cutting. So I think, looking here, give me a second. Okay, I've got this one that's got the lock, a key, and a hinge, all right? So it may not fit for all of them. So what I do is I'll just guesstimate where I want mine. Like I want to do the key, okay? So I'm going to put this about here, okay? I'm going to cut the end off here. So I'm just going to flip it over and cut this section off. Now the Tim Holtz scissors are awesome because they are a little bit, they've got a little bit of grooves in them. So they can cut virtually almost any metal. So I just use them to cut with, all right? So now, see where the key is? I'm going to place that where the key is, all right? And I'm going to place it this direction here, I believe is the way I want it to go. And then, I don't need my platform for this one, so I pull that one out. And then I'm going to take my two plastic pieces. This is the one that makes the markings, so this has got to go on the top. Okay, and this is the bottom. And I'm making my sandwich, as they call it. And then I'm going to run it through. Okay, and it's cut my key. I got to be very careful to pop it out because it's pretty delicate. And there's the key. See that? So it makes a cool key. So now I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to run the lock through again. And I apologize. My husband's home from working from home today. It's Friday here, and he works every other Friday from home. And it kind of drives me nuts because he's not very quiet, and so he'll yell at the stairs, and you know, he doesn't know to come find me. All right, so here's the lock with the markings from the sheet music. Isn't that cool? So that is how you can do these. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this short little show of how you can emboss using aluminum cans and cut die cuts out of an aluminum can. So I hope you enjoyed this and that you'll come back next time and for my next art adventure, art journey. So thanks for watching. Bye, Toodles. Have a wonderful day. If you like what you see, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share, comment, all that jazz, and I shall see you next time. Bye, Toodles. Have a wonderful day.